New interview coming out with Gillie and Wallo, and it was quite interesting. In my opinion, it was. But we're going to tackle that right here because, oh my goodness, I had no idea that Gilly and Fifth was going to appear on the show. I had no idea that that was even going down. So I can't wait to check that out to see what it's even going to look like. Oh, absolutely. 1000%. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it, right? Then everything gets like kooky and it gets like real crazy. Because once you start seeing, oh yeah, of course Fifth that dude. But it got real crazy when you start seeing the process change. Now, when the process started changing, that's when you notice things start going, they start getting a little loopy. And they start going in a direction that they don't normally go in. Because I was like myself, I was thrown back. I was like, damn, what's this? I was like, Gillie and Fifth? Oh, I got to check that out. So definitely, I was on it from 21 Jump Street. So anyway, after the intro, we're going to get into it because, boy, it was a lot that went down in this interview. Hi, I'm Carcino. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. What's up? What's up? What's up? Yes, sir. You say he came to your city to get you. So anyway, Fifth was on the show with Gillie and Wallo, and Fifth came out to speak. And, Gillie asked him flat out, like, what's up with you and Ross, man? What's up with you and Ross? Why y'all beefing all the time? Like, this thing been going on for like 20 years now. Why are you and Ross still at it? So Fifth kind of like tried to downplay the situation. But let's listen to Fifth.
What is it with you and Ross that's just been going on for so long?
I explain this to you, right? Nothing else works for him outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, you mention me. It gets covered for you. You'll see TMZ and say, 50 Cent said this is going to be bad for Irv Gotti's career. I get covered across the board.
Yeah.
They get covered on the hip hop blogs.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And you watch because I have nothing else to say. You'll just see it happen periodically as it goes.
Yeah.
You see that big white elephant, that property he lives at? It costs more than the nightclubs. He's in the nightclubs.
Yeah.
We know what they can give. They pay you more than they can pay you because the room can't hold enough people for them to give you the money to stay there. You can stay until you're a squatter, holding on to the leg of the chair that they move. But that's what it is. It's just a part of presentation.
Yeah.
Come on, bro. You can see this. You don't need me to say this. You know this.
Yeah.
Look at it. What kind of rich nigga cut his own grass? Why you out there cutting your own grass? You trying to save money, nigga? You don't want to pay for the lawn to get cut, huh?
Let me ask you
The
this.
AC broken in the mother.
Let me ask you this.
The deal's at the top of the hill. They really be wanting you to lose like he just bought the Holyfield mansion. He bought a jet. Oh no, 4th annual car show? I just seen a clip of the Wallow show where he was interviewing 50 Cent and the other little dude asked him a question, small talk. But ultimately the question that should have been asked was, you jumped out there during the beef, the West Coast versus the Canadian, and I thought Dr. Dre put you on. I thought Dr. Dre was the set. I thought you was loyal to Dr. Dre. You mean you went with the Canadian over Dr. Dre? Who you say changed your life?
Mm.
I ain't know. I thought loyalty. But you did shut the. Once the Canadian took the L, you got totally quiet. You did. So, since these niggas count my pockets, I'm gonna let them know my next move. My next move finna be Thriller in Manila 3. Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield 3. Once Tyson knock out Jake Paul, I'm gonna get Tyson and Holyfield a fight in my front yard. I'm gonna put a ring right there. And it's gonna go down in my front yard. I want the judges to be Snoop Dogg, Kevin Hart, academics.
Academics?
The ring gonna be right there
Academics?
at the promised land. Thriller
You
in Manila,
bastard.
the biggest. In acres, it'll be right here in the front yard. You understand what I'm trying to say? This is where we'll put it at, right here. We'll put it right here. This is where I want it at. Thriller in Manila. I have 15,000 people right here, just right here in the front yard for the car show. This is where we're going to put it at. And 50 Cent, whatever you trying to do in Shreveport, I understand the land is very inexpensive. So that's why you chose that. But you could put that on the other side in my backyard. I got another 150 acres on the backside. I won't even notice whatever y'all little thing is y'all doing. We wouldn't even have to cross each other's paths. I'll put you way in the back. Trust me, y'all can film all y'all little whatever shows. Ghost Part 9.
50. He tried to get into the promotion business. He employed was supposed to try to do something, and then he got licensed in New York, correct?
No, we did business together, actually. Canelo fought.
Rick Ross started showing what Oscar De La Hoya said about him and the whole nine. But yeah, shouts out to urban politicians too. Urban politicians, man, doing his thing. Subscribe to him as well. They've been blocking your notifications. Okay, well, let them know about it. So that's how you top that. Now, here's the situation, good people. Ross is doing the Ross. You know, he's doing what he do. Ross love these games. He love playing politics. Fifth is doing something that's gonna generate $1 billion in revenue. Rick Ross ain't doing nothing that's gonna generate $1 billion in revenue. He's a damn sham wow guy. He the pitch man. You know, he ain't doing no concerts, he doing festivals. He performing at nightclubs. He on the Chitlin circuit. So we seen who your boss is. You the biggest boss, but how you the biggest boss when you got a boss? Bosses don't got bosses. Real bosses don't. So how you the biggest boss on this team thus far? Just another day in the life of the whack-ass boss. Now, that's the thing I be trying to get people to understand. You are not a boss. If you got a boss, you're not the boss. Do you know I used to have a job where I had to tell people that they weren't the boss? I get to make all the decisions. Do you have equity in the company? What does that mean? I make all the decisions here. If I say it's a go, it's a go. No, we can't do it. In my own company, and well, not my own company, the company I used to work for, which I was an independent contractor in there, but I worked for the company. And what we did was we were doing consulting work for the business, and doing consulting work and having the consultants all come in and, you know, whatever the business need is, we had a tax division. We do taxes from international, local, no matter. We got you, regional, national. We got a tax division. You got a tax lien. They auditing your business. All of it. We have it. So when that was laid out for people, and the services and stuff like that, and they agreed to it, we couldn't agree with a president of the company unless, like, if you was a CEO, we couldn't do it. You have to be the owner. You have to have equity in the company. If you don't have equity in the company, you're not going to be able to make the decisions. Even though you think you are, you can't pull that trigger. You ain't going to be able to make that decision go when we need a yes. And you keep saying, I get to make the decision. Then we send the guy out there and find out you the guy that can't make the decisions. So now we wasted time putting people in hotels, plane flights, all these different things to get the consultants out there to help with the business. And they can't do any work because you can't sign off on the paperwork because you don't really own it. So you can't even get to a branch. So you're not a boss. You're an acting boss. You're running it. You're paid to run the operations. But when it comes to signing that paperwork to get stuff done, bosses do that. Real bosses got to get that done. Now, if the boss say, okay, I give you power, you know, you got power of attorney or you got the right to do it, then you have the authority to. Do you have power of attorney? Do you have equity in there? Did the owner say you have the access to make these kind of decisions? Some believe they did until they got down there and found out that that man wasn't the owner. And then they said, you know what? He likes what we got. We're gonna sit down. We set up another one, but now we just wasted this extra money. So real bosses make boss decisions. Now let's get back to this. Somebody very ignorant came in here and tried to change the whole channel. This guy said, I can't keep my lies and facts straight. In 1991, Jordan wasn't thinking about playing overseas. He still had 5 years on an 8-year contract. When was he going to play overseas? I clearly stated that Michael Jordan had 5 years left on his contract. And he says after he's done playing basketball for the NBA in 5 years, he was going to go play overseas. You see how people don't listen? They don't listen with understanding. They just want to say what they want to say. Go back and listen again. And when you listen to it, you'll hear me say, after the 5 years, I don't have to say alleged or nothing. This came out of Michael Jordan's own mouth. I already got my evidence and my facts. All you got to do is research. You do your job, then come back here and apologize. How about that? Because I know something that the rest of these people don't know. Because they don't. One, I lived through it. I seen it when it was happening in real time. So with the information you got was information these dum-dums don't know because they know why research. You don't got to no more. They paying you millions of dollars to just do nothing. So why do any research? I know. They just make themselves look so stupid because they just want to be known so much. They just say stuff like, do you think I got something better to do than just say Michael Jordan's going to play overseas? And tell you why he was going to play overseas? Michael Jordan said it right out of his own mouth. Now, back to this, 50 Cent and Rick Ross continuously have a beef because this thing was personal. $50 Cent took all of his so-called beef and turned it into a plus for himself, for everything. 50 Cent lost a lot of money. He had to file for bankruptcy and everything. He had Jimmy Iovine on his head. He had all these people coming after him. Now, with all of this going on, Rick Ross was still trying to come after 50 Cent and do everything else. And then he convinced his baby moms to sue 50 Cent, which he won in court. She won in court and they had to settle, and she had to get like $7 million or whatever she sued for because she leaked some tape of her having an adult film thing, and he didn't even leak it. It was already on the internet. But they said, oh, you shared it. So he's in there pointing out 50 Cent's broke and going there laughing at 50 in there. They got him in court again. He in bankruptcy court. And then they call the courts again, and he's right. Rick Ross is just styling like he won, like he did this to 50. And what he did, because 50 Cent posed with a photo. I don't know if y'all remember. It was an iconic photo. And this is what got him back in trouble. You remember this photo? When Fifth posed with the broke photo after the bankruptcy court. And he spoiled out broke. So the judge called him back in the court over there, and Rick Ross tried to act like he called the judge and got him on to come after 50 Cent, and he had to go back to court over this. They was like, what is this? Now, this is prop money from the movie, from the TV show Power. They were filming Power at the time. So this is fake money. This ain't even real money. This is for the Power movie. So it's real prop money. It's not real money. And Fifth posed showing that like, oh, I'm broke. Because everybody was roasting him. I didn't have to apologize for lying on nobody. So I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't lie on nobody. No, I told Gil, I was like, I'm sorry if the video offended you. But back to this. So that's why this escalated higher because 50 Cent had to go right back to court over this photo, and Rick Ross is just poking him like, yeah, he down. But 50 was banking on himself and betting on himself. See? 50 Cent had to go to court and tell the judge that he was posting the fake cash to maintain his brand. He said, sometimes I have to post, outrageous things in order to move the needle. And he says that on his social media page. So this was back when they was filming Power. And that was another thing that went on and on. They hate your content be factual. I know they do. They hate it so much. Now, if I was to play audio of Gil's woman saying, some things about Gil, that would be pretty terrifying, wouldn't it? But I wouldn't do stuff like that. No, she had accidentally called like 2 years ago. That was. She called me while I was in the middle of a live, and we got it on. We had it on tape. So that's the only way it came up there. Now, that's a commonality. So after these things were done, people, let me tell you, after that was done, most people didn't know or didn't see or didn't care to know that there was so many different 50 Cent impersonations happening and taking place at that time. But 50 bounced back. 50 Power became the biggest show on Stars. He started expanding his businesses. He started getting more into the film industry, more and more into the production side of things. And now 50 Cent is on the money because Shreveport is where I had my movie licensed at. So I already know it's cheap there. That's why a lot of movies get made in New Orleans, especially after the pandemic. It's real cheap there. It was always cheap, but I mean, after 9/11. And because of tax reasons, that's why people wasn't really filming in California too much if they could avoid it. Well, 50 is betting on himself. I'm quite sure he has investment partners. This is not an exclusive 50 Cent deal. What he's going to do is create a platform where he's going to actually have an acting school on premise too. And because of that, right, 50 Cent is going to bounce back times 10. Well, 50 Cent was not just sued by the woman. He was sued by basically Jimmy Iovine's people. this group called SMS Auto. It was another headphones company that 50 Cent was a part of. And they tried to say 50 was stealing their headphones ideas, and he had owned a portion of it, but they didn't do what they were supposed to do. And he believed that the lawyers that he had hired conspired against him to help the other company win. Now that part was Jimmy, to sabotage his SMS headphones audio, because now this became a Beats audio problem. Beats headphones versus 50 Cent's, SMS, which Jimmy was pissed because he's like, you bootlegged our headphone idea and you went and got your own when they was going to make 50 a partner. 50 always wanted to be a boss, unlike Rick Ross. He didn't want to have a boss. He didn't want to work with Jimmy and Apple and Dre. Dre got a boss. Jimmy Iovine's the boss. Fifth didn't want to have a boss. So he had SMS Auto. It's like, okay. And he was like, oh, you want to go against us. So Jimmy Iovine looked at it as, you a competitor. So that's how the battle went on. Oh, absolutely. Well, they don't know anybody. Who owns Interscope? Jimmy owns Interscope. Now, this is why the problems always existed between the two. So 50 got out of his contract early and he independently released that album, the Animal Ambition. When he released that album, he pretty much had that just paid for distribution. That was 50 Cent's own work. He put that out and he was able to get paid off of it. They let him out of his contract early and they had to pay him because y'all don't remember ringtones. Who remember ringtones on the cell phone? Who's old enough to remember ringtones? People used to pay 99 cents to buy a ringtone or $2.99. And artists is getting paid off ringtones. So somebody said, you're a ringtone rapper. But shoot, your ringtones was making money if you had a good catchy song back in the day. The top two ringtones that they had was In the Club and Candy Shop. Those were the top two ringtone people was buying. Candy Shop and In the Club. So when they got through calculating all the ringtone money, 50 Cent had to wait for that money. So Floyd Mayweather had loaned him some money because he still had that house and he kept trying to pay taxes on and was like, man, this house is killing you, man. You got to get out of this house. Floyd told him, like, this house is going to lose you money every year. You're losing money on this house. You got to get rid of it. It's none but a killer. And it was a bad investment. And it was eating off 50's money. And Floyd had loaned him some money until that money came. That's why he was down there in Vegas, hanging out with Floyd all the time, staying at Floyd's crib and all this. He was basically had abandoned his mansion and was living there with Floyd while all this was going on. And that's when we saw him. Now, Fifth wasn't broke because he got money coming in. his money was coming in, and Interscope owed him $24 million. And they were stringing it along. They didn't want to just pay him. You know, Interscope could have just written the check for like $24 million and gave it to him. See, y'all, the general public don't know this information. I know this information. They don't. So now y'all know the information because I know it. Factually, this went down. And Fifth had to wait till they paid him that money. So then when they hit Fifth with that $24 million, he was able to relaunch. He did Animal Ambition. He got into Power. He did everything that he had set up. And they was like, man, why did he take, like, they gave him a low amount of money to be in Power. Like, why did he take that small deal? Because he saw the bigger picture down the road. Before that, nobody would have gave 50 an opportunity to get in the door to do what he's doing right now with Power. They'd have just hired him to be the actor. See, that's what they would do with somebody like Ross. They'd have just invited his fat ass to be a goddamn guest appearance. Yeah, I'm the biggest boss. Yeah. You know, that's all he gonna do, get a flat fee, and then he gonna get out there and pretend like it's his studio, he bought it. Yeah, you see me in my studio, I'm making a major motion picture. They finna make movies in my house. Yeah, they gonna film a movie in your house, but you don't get a piece of the movie. They paying to shoot movies in your crib when they did Coming to America, and I think they did another series episode they shot up in there. He don't have a contract with a company that consistently keep work and coming in his house so that he can get the money on the taxes off of it. No, he don't. Now, I'm not saying he doesn't make any good business moves. I'm just saying, when you are in that type of predicament, normally it affects you in the negative when you keep going at something like that. Like you keep going and grinding towards something that's not going to be, it's like risk and rewards. You have to do stuff that's going to be beneficial to you forever. You got to have a piece of something. You got to have points. Okay. I own points in a major motion picture. I already showed y'all the contracts. I already showed you what went down. No, I don't know all his contacts. I don't know all Rick Ross business moves. I do, but what I do is I know a majority of them. And the majority of them you could see. So I know he doesn't have a contract with them. He don't have a contract with a network. That's one thing he should have tried to get, a licensing contract to where they could use his property for their television shows, everything consistently, not a one-time shot pop, because we doing it here. It's like, hey, we got this place, we can rent it, we got it under contract, we licensed for X amount of shows, X amount. So I don't know who does his marketing management, but to be in their position, it's crazy. You see, right now, I have money tied up because I can't touch it or get involved in it because of our war that we got with Ukraine right now and Russia. The United States can't touch anything that's coming from Russian oil. I was in the oil business. We was brokering oil. That's what your boy Sino was doing. So when people don't understand, when you start telling them about how the oil was, where we get the oil, how we get the oil, and we only got really one port for the oil that comes in through Houston, and that's it. I mean, the oil work just like you see the gas work. You got premium oil, you got JP54, which is like regular oil that you see for gas, like regular gas. That's JP54. That's the cheapest one. Then there's D6 and D12. Now, them D6, now that's like airplane fuel. Now, that's the fuel for them planes and jets that's flying up in the air. Now, that's the expensive fuel. That's going to cost you some more. Now, my brokering deal contract would have paid our company. We would have got $2 per barrel. And everyone does a spot run, which is normally, or a dry run, which is normally one run out of the contract. Whatever contract you agree, the first run test goes through. And if everything goes smoothly, you have a chance to get out of the contract if you didn't like the way it went down, with nobody saying like, okay, it didn't work or whatever. But if you like the way it went down, you're going to stay in the contract. And some companies ship, they do 2-3 runs a month, right? Depends on who they are. But some companies do 2 runs a month. Now, we have a team of people that's involved, but out of the team and the brokerage that we do, the dollar goes to one person. They get like $1 out of the barrel. When it comes down to it, I would have 25 cents out of the barrel. So it's 1 million barrels at probably a minimum. Sometimes it's 500,000, but that's very light. But they normally do $1 million a run. So you're looking at $1 million a barrel going back. So that's like, okay, for me, that's 250,000 every time they do a run. So that's 2-3 runs, and that's just a test run. That minimum is 1 million barrels. Some of them is 2.5 million barrels going. So it's always good to create different revenue streams. You don't want to be doing one thing for the rest of your life and have one revenue coming in. You think all I do is sit here all day and just do YouTube? That's what you really think happens in my days? Y'all really got me screwed up. That's why I told y'all to go to the Patreon so that we can inform you guys so you can be caught up. Yeah, well, so much is into that. Rick Ross needs to learn how to be a boss. If I was let's say I wanted to work with somebody, would I work with Rick Ross? No. He's a Negro that signed to a Negro that signed to a Negro that was signed to some more Negroes. He got 3 bosses. This dude had like 3 major bosses when he came in there. He came in, he had Jay-Z, right? Def Jam. He had Columbia, Def Jam, Universal. Then he had Puffy come in. So now Puff is your boss. Clive Davis, Puff. Like, how many bosses you got to pay? And you don't sell no records. So you ain't selling no records, and then you sitting over here doing what you doing. It just ain't making no sense. The older you get, the more and more people ain't gonna want to deal with you. Now, no. You can't manufacture it. No, Rick Ross. Rose 1. Rose 1. Rick Ross, man, let me tell you. Let me tell you how this is. Mm-hmm. That's why. That is why I never trusted people to get my point across. From what you just said right there, Rick Ross, like I told you, is a worker. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, people often come with scams in any business. Any business, there's a scam lined up. Oh, okay. I could always prove what I'm saying, sir. That's the difference between me and you. Y'all ready to go to school? What's that say? JP54 and mazout. Mazout is another type of gas. All right. It says Kevin Davis. When was this? This is April 1st, 2015 at 3:01 p.m. Now, what does it say? I understand you looking for JP54, Mizzou, D2 and D6. I am a direct representative of a provider of the two products that you're looking for. That's me. Right? Before I send any information over, they want to know if you're seeking this for resale or major buyer. If so, they want a conference call between the seller and your buyer. Then they will proceed with the SEO and the ICPO. These are certifications, right? To say that you're real. And this is the procedures for it. 1 million barrels of jet fuel, JP-54 Russian in the tanker, Novio water planes. This is how it's going to be distributed. Seller and buyer exchange verbal communication. Seller issues commercial invoice. Both sign and seal CI lodges, CIs to their respective banks, buyer's banks, seller banks, exchange communications, and all this. So as you can see, I don't have to lie to people. This is real talk. Look, this is for the Mizzou. You wanted to know? This is how it is. Set up. Look at that. Look at that. Set up to lead a Novo, but after vocal conversations with the buyers, they can discuss buyer's destination. I have to call my other contact for the D2 and D6. And here it is. This is the company that wanted to get it. Shelton Investments, LLC. The buyers I currently have in place do not want Novo, but Rotterdam. Would you be able to have the ships in Rotterdam? Then we will be able to get this done immediately. I will await your response, and I apologize for the delay. That's Matthew Shelton. Nicole Shelton is the CEO of the company. So as you can see, that's over $1 million barrels for a test run. And I keep trying to tell you, you guys are thinking small. You guys are thinking out. You got to think outside the box. I'm a black man who come from Robert Taylor Homes. And here I am brokering international deals for oil. So that got interrupted by the Ukraine war. So that's the only reason why that business now is skewed and messed up. So that messed up a lot of money for me. Who said 25%? Were you talking to somebody in the chat? I said 25 cents a barrel is what I would get paid. Not 25%, 25 cents a barrel. They do millions at a minimum on a test run. That'll be 250 grand at a minimum I would get for any test run. I know people that do 5 million barrels each time, and they do 2-3 trips a month. So I'm getting 250,000 for every million barrels. So that's substantial. I would have been crushing the game right now if it wasn't for this Ukraine-Russian war. So the war actually messed everything up for me financially, going in another department and division. This is how we were able to financially get into a position to have our movie. So we would have been set. So we have other brokerage things that we did in our other companies. I'm a part of a lot of different LLCs. And this is why I'm like, these people don't really understand what it is that we do. I don't just sit here and do YouTube all day. This is why on the Patreon, we give you advice on how to start a business and how to really make money for yourself. This is what we do mainly on the Patreon. It's not just gossip. We do that too. We tell you stuff that's going on, but we want to tell you some stuff that can actually help you enrich your life. These other dudes ain't doing it. They want to send you to a camp. Well, if you want to say the Black community has to wake up, that's the thing. What is the Black community? Is there one? Where's our community at? Where's our community meetings for Black people? The Mexican community, where is that at? But see, we're not unified enough. Meaning we'll get together for a concert, we'll get together to go see a show, we'll get together to go to a barbecue or a football game, but we won't get together to go make some money. We won't get together to get into business.
At the end of Alien Romulus.
Well, there's just so much going on that it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Twizzle, that's what I tell people. Sign up to the Patreon, get on the Patreon. And because we tell people how to get into business, how to get started, how I got started, how we did all this stuff. And this is how to lay it out. This is what you want to do. You want to get into brokerage. You want to do this. You could do a lot of stuff like take classes online to get licensed. I'm like, dude, you spend all this time on Facebook, Snapchat, and all this. Like they show the average people really do 3 websites a day. They do YouTube. They're mostly on Facebook. Facebook is like one of their main things. They're on Instagram and Snapchat. And it was just looking at it, mainly 3 sites. But none of the sites that's like, oh, we can learn how to do this, learn how to do that. They don't even want to do it. They don't want to learn a trade. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Byron, that's what I try to do. Well, you got all these different you have all these different people with their expectations. That's another thing too. You have people with expectations. This is why 50 Cent always understood business. He was always, it's not like every business he got into was successful. There's a lot of businesses he was involved in that crashed and burned. A lot of stuff he invested in that didn't work. He had he had the TV show that came out that was supposed to be like in living color, and black folks didn't want to support it. He had a deal with MTV. He was going to put out those little movies and stuff. And they put out the first episode and people didn't like it. But then the second one they put out and then it worked. He had the reality show where he was looking for a CEO. He had a lot of stuff. It didn't work. But this is why you try. But then with power, it worked. Fifth got it behind it and made it not be ridiculous. No, well, you got to look at it from another different angle. You're thinking from an angle of we have a problem and there's this going on and that going on. No, no, no. No. Do you really believe it? I don't believe it. No. Why would you believe that? Listen, 50 Cent is what you would say, a savant in the business. Oh, yeah. Hit the like button, good people. When I'm coming back to Cali, I just left Cali one too long ago. But I was only there like for 17 hours. Then I had to get up out of Cali. A lot of y'all don't even know. I just seen no be traveling, and y'all just don't be knowing it, because I be doing business. No, we want to make sure that we always keep everything in perspective. Well, we have to see, you know, how people are going to respond to things. You know, you can't just consistently do the same thing over and over again and expect the same results. You know, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm a fan of getting it done the right way. No, what 50 Cent did was put himself in a position to down the road, he's going to earn billions of dollars. These things are going to, by having this studio, the amount of money you're going to be able to make, because you're going to be controlling the films by putting a school together that's actually teaching acting. Now you can hire in-house. You got actors from Shreveport. You can have 7, 8 different network shows being filmed there, movies that you're going to put out right in those studios. So now you're getting studio money. So G Unit Studios is a very big step. And to have people that were very contingent on you want people that's contingent on having themselves into a firefight or a showcase situation. Mm-hmm. Who you think is right in the beef, 50 Cent or Rick Ross? Who you think is right in this beef? All right, Ross started this thing for promo, but Fifth went to annihilate him and remove him about the business and exposed him for being a fake. And since then, Rick Ross has never went platinum, nothing. Now, I'm not knocking what he did. The man got some percentages and everything that was available. They put these things around him to make himself available for, because, you know, he got, he has a lot of different things around him, like opportunities to get into Wingstop and all this. That's cool. You know, get some residual income. But then you started doing things that was counterproductive, buying mansions nothing but a tax dump, you know, but you want the image, you want this look. Fifth had already had that bad experience with that mansion. He bought Tyson's mansion, you bought Holyfield mansion. No, I don't think so. Oh, you know Gilly the kid is gonna respond. Come on, Gilly. Gilly was sunning this dude. He was sunning Ross. Gilly, Gilly, Gilly was sunning him all the way before any of this ever took place. Gilly was over there going at Ross. Yeah, he said, Rick Ross, you got Meek Mill over there in a slave deal. You got him in that Harriet Tubman deal. Yeah, he been going in on Ross. Yeah, well, he thought that it was going to go against him. That's why. Yeah, Gilly responded. He said, what I do? Your beef is not with me, black man. What I do? Your beef is not with me, black man. Real estate is still the best thing going. But you know what you need to do is we'll talk about that on the Patreon. So if y'all on the Patreon, we'll talk about that. There's different type of real estate games to get into. Okay, what you want to do is get you a different type of setup going. You know, I ain't got time to buy a house, flip it up, clean it, do all the work on it, and saying, okay, I got this house. Now let's flip the house. Let me show you what Sino's into now. Do you want to see? I'll show you some of the stuff that, if you're on the Patreon, you already know. Take you in my office, because I'm glad I'm seeing some minds that are intrigued with business. Yeah, I was upset he said that academics crap. I said, academics? Yeah, that pissed me off. Yeah, because he said academics. See what this is? Let me help you out a little bit here. Give you a little light. Do you see what this is? This is a deck. This is Cards and Coffee. This is a real business. You know these people. Steve Aoki, Grammy Award-winning artist. These are all the owners of the business. And Cards and Coffee is already a business that's ready to scale. Right? Cards and Coffee is already making money. It's got the app. It's already set up. Okay, these are the projections. Why do I have this in my hand? Why do I have access to their books and their projections and their numbers? It's because they're looking for investors. And then the numbers and the projections are going up. So by this year, they're going to make $32 million in business, right? So they wanted to show the layout, the growth of the business, and the growth of the genre that they're in. And this is what I like to see, the financial projections into the future. Now, these future projections are into the millions and the billions of dollars that they think they will be able to make. Now, they see themselves going here. They want to talk about the stores they're opening up to have physical locations. And then you see the EBITDA is about 4 million projected. The revenue is growing by 20% each year. So I would be a fool not to get into this, right? I would be a fool not to want a part of this. It's already getting ready to scale. So this is the game you want to be a part of. This is the game that's going to make the most sense. This is the game in which you can win. It makes everything else look minor and small. That's just one company. I have many companies here. I'm here making decisions on, do I want to be a partner and invest in? So if you're on the Patreon, you can learn more about these companies, how to get involved. If you're really interested in doing stuff like this, this ain't blah, blah, blah. I'm just talking to be talking type talk. No, no, no. This is for people that really want to get out. It's not. So for my company, I got to fill out this annual business survey every year. That's a pain in the ass, but I got to do it. Well, there's just so much going on at a time that you just really can't grasp. You literally just can't grasp everything, you know? So there, it's been said, you know. Now, if you've been in Target, or maybe you've been in what's that other store? We used to have one on the corner, but mostly you see this in Target. You see this black? Black is actually a biotech meets beverage, very healthy drink. Black is one of the fastest growing in the business. This is a projected revenue sheet. 29 million, 10 million. Not everybody gets one of these in their hands unless you're somebody of importance. Fastest growing. Black. It's organic, plant-based, electrolytes, all of it. But it's not just financial projections that get your attention. It's product strategy. Where is it going? How is it going to continuously make money? Because some things can make money, projections look great, and then you get there, then it starts falling off. Why? Because everybody got bored or something new came out, something fresh. And then if you don't have any ideas to keep changing with the times, it gets stale. So they decided to get ahead of the game. And they're going to have different flavors, different color marketing cans. Black don't just have to be in all black containers anymore. So people are already thinking outside of the box. Now, when you start looking at the market and start seeing where this thing is going, what does that number say, y'all? Does that say 220 billion? I bet that got your attention now, don't you? So this is a doc for $1 billion company. So you got to understand something. If you're on my Patreon, you've already seen this information. We got some other stuff on there now. That's something that I wanted you guys to see for your eyes only. Now, if you want to hear more, you guys sign up my Patreon, and we'll start doing there and going to business, having talks. That's why I have a blackboard here. We go over different companies, businesses, everything else that you could ever imagine that you would think you need. Okay? So it's cool to sit here and talk about other people's money. But wouldn't it be nice to have your own money? I'm just saying. That would be cool, right? I think so too. Anyway, I'm out. So go to the Patreon and you be blessed.